You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show podcast on KPEL965.com.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studios. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
They'll try to push a peace deal for Russia and Ukraine. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. At the summit of G20 nations starting today in Rio, with President Biden gathered with world leaders. But the plan that Brazil and China are working on is opposed by Ukraine's president, who's much happier with this.
Senior U.S. officials say President Biden is authorizing Ukraine to use U.S.-provided long-range missiles to target inside Russian territory, likely focusing on the Kursk region, where as many as 10,000 North Korean troops have joined Russian soldiers.
The United States has been clear that we would respond to that. We've been clear to the Russians that we would respond to that.
Deputy National Security Advisor John Feiner would not offer details on what that response would be, but says it is consistent with the administration's approach.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. A Russian lawmaker warns of World War III as Russian strikes in Ukraine have killed at least 19 people in the cities of Sumy and Odessa. President-elect Trump still mulling who he wants to be Treasury Secretary, with as many as 4 people under consideration. He did nominate an FCC Commissioner, Brendan Carr, to be chairman of the Federal Communications Commission.
Trump says in a statement, Commissioner Carr is a warrior for free speech and has fought against the regulatory lawfare that has stifled Americans' freedoms. Carr thanked Trump on X last night, saying we must dismantle the censorship cartel and restore free speech rights for everyday Americans.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. Democrats are critical of several Trump nominees, planning strong opposition at Senate confirmation hearings. Now, Republicans will control the Senate with 53 members, though one unseated Democrat, Senator Bob Casey's not conceding yet.
As his margin of defeat under Republican Dave McCormick was tight enough to trigger an automatic recount under state law, which is supported by Pennsylvania's other senator, Democrat John Fetterman.
I think they'll never understand why it's controversial to count every vote.
Senator-elect and Republican Dave McCormick's campaign suing at least a couple of counties for allowing undated or misdated ballots to be counted.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from.
Get ready for something fresh and exciting with the Josh Guillory Show. Josh Guillory brings a new perspective to the airwaves, analyzing news and issues coming out of Baton Rouge and Washington, D.C., and breaking down how they affect you. Engaging, raw, and informative, Guillory knows how to have fun while delivering the latest in politics and current events. With daily features that entertain and inform, you won't want to miss a single episode. The Josh Guillory Show, 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, only on News Talk 96.5, KPEL.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman to save money.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Bikers Against Child Abuse empowers children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. For more information, visit BACAworld.org. Our helpline is 866-885-9474. BACA, breaking the chains of abuse.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by Champines, located in the Oil Center. Champines, going the extra mile.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to be with you on a beautiful Monday. 844-766-6607. As always, Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. He can help you if you go check him out at MatthewJames.com, MatthewJames.com. All right, folks, a lot of stuff to get to with taxes. Legislative session, about a week left. Got a little bit of updated stuff on that as well. What was the other big? Oh, Stephanie Grace stuck her pointed nose in this, and she's stupid as usual from the devil's advocate, but I'll get to that later. They just won't quit lying, and I'll get to that. Anyway, got a lot of stuff to cover, but I did want to cover one thing real quick, and I've asked Attorney General Liz Murrill to join us. Liz, how you doing, babe?
I'm good. Good morning. How are you, man?
Good morning. I'm doing super. Good to hear from you. Okay, Liz, so we passed the Ten Commandment in the classroom, and then a judge stopped it, and then we got another ruling. So why don't you update us? First of all, update us on the Ten Commandments. What the bill, when they passed it, what was this supposed to do? And then start there and then take us to where we are today.
So the bill, the final form of the bill requires schools, classrooms, basically to have a poster put on their wall that contains the Ten Commandments in a historical context with some other documents. It doesn't dictate exactly how that's supposed to look other than the way the Ten Commandments is supposed to appear. But the rest of it is basically up to the discretion of whoever produces posters. And so this bill has gotten a lot of attention, and as part of our defense, we actually came up with a bunch of ideas for posters so that we could show the court that it can be applied in a constitutional manner. That did not persuade him. He issued a very broad-reaching injunction, and we filed an immediate appeal, and we got a partial stay last week from the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. We will be going for the full stay, which means we're going to attempt to block his entire ruling, but we've got a little more court proceedings to be had to get there.
What is this? Does this, a ruling like this, does this make it all the way to Supreme Court, or you don't think it has to go that far?
Well, I mean, I think there's a good chance that the Fifth Circuit will block Judge DeGravel's ruling in whole, but ultimately, I do think it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and I think that the law complies with Supreme Court precedent. So, it's possible that the Fifth Circuit will uphold the law, and then the Supreme Court will deny the plaintiff's petition for cert. But the alternative is that we end up in front of the Supreme Court because the judgment is not blocked, and we're asking the Supreme Court to take it up. But, at the heart of this discussion is some Supreme Court precedent that was basically overruled by the Supreme Court in the last year. So Judge DeGravel relied on a case that we think was implicitly overruled, along with the overruling of what we call the Lemon test. And so we really think he's on pretty shaky ground in the way that he blocked the law. But at the end of the day, we think we can create posters that comply with existing Supreme Court precedent. So that's the real heart of the problem, is that he blocked the law without ever seeing what posters go up on the wall.
Yeah. So you optimistic that we'll win this? You're pretty optimistic?
Very, yes, okay. I am. I think it was premature to block the law without seeing what was actually going to be produced and posted on the wall. It seems to me, just from the posters we were able to come up with, brainstorming and creating our own set of posters for purposes of briefing the case, that you can comply with the precedent and create a context that is historical and appropriate under current Supreme Court guidelines.
Well, let me ask you a question.
If you can do that, then the law is constitutional. So
let me ask you a question, because for people that don't live in the world you live in, and you live in a world where with lawyers and trials and going to the Supreme Court and all that. Let me ask you a question. Yeah. So you take a case like in Louisiana, and it goes all the way to Supreme Court, and we win. Is that just for Louisiana? Is it supposed to be kind of what happens all over the rest of the country? Because it seems like to me sometimes they rule in the case, but it's for that state or that area, not necessarily for the whole country. So in a case like that, would it be if we went all the way to the Supreme Court and won, will it be for the whole country? Should it be for the whole country?
Well, it is for the whole country in this sense that anybody else could pass a law like ours, and it would basically fall within the scope of that same ruling. I mean, you saw the flip side of that in June Medical, where our law was struck because of a Texas law that had been struck that was similar. Now, I think our case was different, but the Supreme Court didn't think that it was different, and they struck our law because they said it's exactly like the law in Texas. If somebody else passed a law that was just like ours and ours was upheld, then it would get the same treatment. It would presumptively be okay because the Supreme Court had already said that ours was okay.
But if it's in the ball game, in other words, it has 70% of the language that y'all have in it, can it be thrown out on that? Well, this is a little different. It's not quite the same, and now you got to go through the whole process if you're in another state. In other words, if the ruling comes through that you're hoping for, and we do go to Supreme Court, and that's what has to happen, and it works, then say state of Florida, whatever state, says, you know what, just adopt exactly what they had, then it was no doubt before them too.
Right. And they could change it up a little bit and it might change the facts. So these kinds of cases, particularly in this zone with the Ten Commandments law, are very factual in nature because the Supreme Court has already said that you can display the Ten Commandments if it's there in a place in an historical context and it's not an overtly religious intent.
Okay.
And that's what the legislature ended up with, was a law that says post them with an historical context. So this one is very, very factual, and I think that's why we know that it can be applied in a way that is constitutional, and we think that the court should have waited to see what actually goes up on the wall of a schoolhouse before it struck the law. But, if the Supreme Court takes it up, the other thing they can do is they can change Supreme Court precedent. So once you're up there and everything is on the table really when you're up there, and they can look at their prior case law and say, and if they've got enough votes to do it, they can overrule prior case law, or they can modify it, or they can write an opinion in a way that kind of renders some of those old cases irrelevant or less relevant as your new case.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. When you tell people listen and going, how do you take the Ten Commandments and do them in a historical content? Explain to people what that means, because I know what you're saying. You took it, you made it part of history. It is the Ten Commandments, straight from the Bible, but you're putting it in a history of what happened with our country, so that should make it legal. I get it. No problem with that, but explain that to people, because somebody might be going, well, I don't understand why they got to keep saying it's in a historical content.
Well, because, so that's because that's the Supreme Court, the latest version of Supreme Court precedent says that that's how you do it if you want it to be constitutional and not violate the Establishment Clause. So the only reason that they're having to do that is because they're trying to confine it within existing Supreme Court precedent. Now, we can test that precedent, and we can try and push the boundaries of that precedent, and we can try and wipe it out entirely. But if we want to try to sort of color inside the lines that have already been given to us, then that's what we're doing. So if you think about it like a coloring book, the Supreme Court gave us some lines, and we've got to stay within those lines, or else we've got to change those lines. And so we can try to do both of those things, but it's much harder to change the lines than it is to draw inside the existing line.
Yeah. Well, I just know, because I had people say, oh, they worry about the Ten Commandments. We got a lot of other things to worry about. But, it's part of what legislators do, governors do, and I think it's something we need to get back to as well. So, okay, so all you got now is the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal. Where are we at today? Last time, and I'll let you go. Where are we at today with the Ten Commandments?
Well, Friday, the Fifth Circuit granted something called an administrative stay, which is a temporary blocking of part of the ruling. And part of the ruling required us to give notice to every school board in the state that, and every school in the state, that the law had been declared unconstitutional. And there are several legal problems with that directive, which is why the Fifth Circuit blocked it and gave us time to present some briefs on our motion for a full stay. So the full stay would block the ruling in its entirety. And that's where we will be this week. There will be more briefing, but I think by the end of the week, we're going to know whether the entirety of the ruling has been blocked. And if it's not, then we're going to the United States Supreme Court to ask them to block it. And if it is blocked, then the other side may go to the Supreme Court and try to unblock it.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I didn't want to take a lot of time. I know you're busy, but thank you so much for updating us.
Thank you. I'll be happy to come back when we get another ruling.
Yeah. Well, I'm keeping an eye on it. All right. Attorney General Liz Murrow. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Yeah, bye. Have a good week.
Yes, ma'am. You too. All right. Got to take a break. More to come. Moon Griffon Show. I'm loaded up today. Loaded up. We'll take a break and be right back. When you think about how you'll spend your money in retirement, what comes to mind? Probably travel, sunny beaches, and spoiling your grandchildren. But a recent survey found that over 30% of every dollar a retiree spends goes to taxes. Baby boomers were told for years to save money in their IRAs and 401ks and pay taxes later. Well, now that day has arrived, and boomers are shocked to see a third of their money going back to Uncle Sam. John Blanchard and the Matthew James Financial Group can help. What if you could? Protect all or most of your retirement wealth from future tax rate increases. Achieve a zero or near zero effective tax rate for most of your retirement years. Find out more. 337-366-8366. Isn't it time you got a second opinion on your wealth and retirement outlook? Learn how you could potentially kick the IRS out of your IRA. 337-366-8366 and online at MatthewJames.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. It's termite season. Did you know termites are responsible for over $1 billion worth of damage in Louisiana alone? For over 60 years, J&J Exterminating has been shielding homes and businesses. 100% guaranteed against termites, pests, and mosquitoes. Louisiana-owned, customer-focused. J&J Exterminating.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating.
Get the shield.
Yeah. Line One is a business telecom provider. Line One specializes in cloud-based communication with superior customer service. If you're frustrated with phone bills you can't understand, endless hold time to customer support, and phone system that is not meeting your needs, then you need to go to Line.One and schedule a free consultation to advance your business phone system. Line One, technology with a human touch. Go to Line.One and tell them Moon sent you. Again, that is Line.One.
If we could...
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Always great to be with you. 844-766-6607. Yes, I'm giving away Cane River pecans today. I sure am. All you got to do is email me, moon@moongriffon.com. Say, I want to win some Cane River pecans and leave a physical address. Let the computer pick it. When they pick it, I'll move it on to Cane River pecans. They will ship maybe as early as today. I know they're shipping between today and tomorrow. So you're on your way if you win today. So you want to make sure that you get on moongriffon.com and say, hey, I want to moon@moongriffon.com. Say, I want to win. And we'll give it away before the 11 o'clock hour gets here. All right, 844-766-6607, Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. So, all right, so session has about a week left. It's unless it ends early, but it's scheduled to end next Monday. I've been hearing this, and I'm not going to tell you everybody I talked to, but I've been hearing this. my big concern, and I've let the people know that needed to know that, I'm worried about this being a tax increase. I'm concerned that we focus more on the revenue. There are a lot of cuts. It is a big picture plan. You can get mad at Jeff all you want to, but Landry's doing something nobody else wanted to top. The problem we got is, from everybody I talk to, especially in government, we can't. I don't want to hear that anymore. I don't want to hear what we can't do. And my buddy Paul calls in every now and then out of Bojan and makes the comment. He said, I don't want to hear it either. He said, we got Republican governor, Republican legislature, 2/3 in the House, 2/3 in the Senate. You tell me you can't change the state of Louisiana? You can't change it or you won't change it. That's a big dang difference from between can and won't. And they're convinced that they can't cut government. Now, folks, whoever put us in this position, and Landry didn't put us in this position, but if that's true, and I'm not leaning to that being true, I'm saying you got Republicans. Republicans can't get this straight. Why can't Republicans get this straight? Don't we understand that the government ought to get theirs last, and I'm tired of watching them for the last 30 years get it first? Everything's about the government. I'll give you an example. By the way, Cade Brumley's going to be on in just a little bit. They got something passed that I was glad to hear. We'll talk to him. But I just read an article. Ever since COVID, we got a gigantic 50% more people sending their kids to homeschooling their kids. And I know we got gigantic out-migration problem here. So we got, and I was in Ouachita Parish and other schools, and people are losing kids left and right. Yet we don't never trim the budget on the number of kids that went down. We got to have more. No, we got less students, less people. We shouldn't keep going up, should it? When in state government, everything keeps going up. But we don't have enough money now. I don't either. Inflation's kicked my butt, too. Car insurance is kicking my fanny. Liability, all that's kicking my butt, too. So, I'm just telling y'all, folks, I'm tired of hearing we can't. And the bottom line is they need to, if you really wanted to do something, if our legislature really wanted to do something, what they would do is pass something that could cut the budget. If it takes a constitutional amendment, bring it on. Let them bicker and cry about their budget all they want to. What about yours and mine? What about the businesses? What about the people that are leaving the state? And this doesn't make any sense to me anymore. I know this was going to be complicated. It's going to be tough. Some of it ought to not be that tough. If we made it in this state where cutting government's tough, we're stupid. We, includes myself, dumb. How can other states come up and change things? In this state, if you're a trial lawyer and you're one of the big political trial lawyers, you make a lot of money. And then you get involved in politics and all of a sudden you can't change anything. You can't fix anything. Stupid. How dumb you want to get. That's why people are leaving. That's why these young people are getting the heck out of here. There's a future somewhere else. I'm just saying. We got a chance to do something. We got Republicans ahead. And the problem is with a Republican, don't get mad, but if you want to, you can. They can't make a damn ham sandwich with one piece of bread and a piece of ham. Why is it so hard? It's got to be. There's got to be a way to get this state where it needs to be to compete. But you know the problem is? You know the big problem? How you replace the revenue? How you replace the revenue? How you replace the revenue? You know the 0.45 that Paula Pelosi Davis went bragging about? It went down from 1 cent to 0.45. Now, you know what the movement is? I hate to tell y'all. To bring it back to the penny. To increase that part of the sales tax by 0.55. Oh, yeah. Just telling you. Got it from a lot of different people in the last week. Actually raised the sales tax. How are they going to cut some income tax, cut some stuff? Remember, there's two sides to the story. why are we raising, and this is my question to everybody that's been involved, why we want to raise the tax from 0.45 to 1 penny when the 0.45 should have never been voted, but it's been there for 7 years, so now we got to accept it as the revenue that we're living off of. Anyway, don't go nowhere, folks. I'm loaded up. We'll be right back. With 5 Louisiana locations, I always make it a point to visit Superior Grill when I'm traveling in the great state of Louisiana. I love the food there. It's authentic Mexican food with a Louisiana twist. Their menu has all your favorites: nachos, quesadillas, enchiladas, tacos, fajitas, hand-cut steaks, and the best margaritas in the state. You can go to Superior for lunch or dinner, and folks, you're going to thank me for it. My lovely bride and I eat at Superior Grill every chance we get. They're on Line Avenue in Shreveport, Government Street and Highland Road in Baton Rouge, St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans, and on College Saloon in Lafayette. I'm talking great food, great service, and great margaritas. The best Mexican food with a Louisiana twist is found at Superior Grill, Shreveport on Line Avenue, Baton Rouge on Government Street and Highland Road, New Orleans on St. Charles Avenue, and College Saloon in Lafayette. This is Moon Griffon. I'll see you at Superior Grill. This is Moon Griffon. My good buddy Jeff and the folks at Hudco Roofing and Exteriors is Louisiana's premier professional roofing contractor, specializing in residential roofing services. Remember, your roof protects everything, you and your family, and most of your possessions. And that's where Hudco Roofing comes in. These folks aren't just your average roofers. They're the #1 roofing company in the state. Whether you need a repair or brand new roof, Hudco Roofing has you covered. Hudco is a CertainTeed Select Shingle Master and takes every roof all the way down to the decking to make sure there are no hidden damages. Hudco Roofing is also a state-certified installer of the Fortified Roofing System, and that's a big deal. Anywhere in Louisiana, you can get a free roof inspection and quote from Hudco Roofing. Go to HudcoRoofing.com for quality workmanship, premium products, and unparalleled customer service. This is Moon Griffon. I trust Hudco Roofing of Louisiana, and so should you. HudcoRoofing.com. That's HudcoRoofing.com.
Everywhere you turn. You know what really gets a party started? Indoor baseball. Yeah, just find a broom or a pool cue, and you can use like anything as a ball. Cans, bottles, shoes.
Hey, bro, toss me that avocado.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by Champagnes, located in the Oil Center. Champagnes, going the extra mile.
Welcome back. It is the Moon Griffon Show, and it is awesome to be with you. It's awesome to give away Cane River pecans, I'm telling you. It's an awesome thing. 844-766-6607 is the number. Real quick, if you want to call, take a call or two, 844-766-6607, Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. So I'm just telling y'all what's transpiring. One of the things that I saw pass that I'm trying to figure out, and I've only had one person confirm it, and I just kind of shook my head. And if I'm wrong, I'm hoping a legislator will straighten me out. So they passed a bill out the House yesterday to get rid of all exemptions. The chemical plant companies, okay? The chemical plant companies may have to pay $25 or $35 million more in taxes. And I'm laughing a little bit because I'm going, this is supposed to be a session about getting businesses lined up and people lined up, not government, I thought. And the only industry we got here right now, one of the biggest industry we got right now is the chemical plants. I got some more calls, and I'm waiting to see, but if the Republican-led legislature is going to allow the chemical plants, which is the most important business we got here right now. Not that it's more important than what you do in farmers and all that stuff, but it's a big business. People make good money. We're going to put $35 million more tax on them. I'm just shaking my head. Where the hell are we going? Now, I'm trying to trust what the governor's saying. I really am. I give him the benefit of the doubt. But when I saw that with the chemical plants, I'm just kind of found it a little bit here. I like going, huh? And you know why all this is taking place? And this is my opinion only. The legislature can get mad at me. The governor can get mad at me. We all worried about making sure government has plenty of money. I don't give a damn about the government having plenty of money. I don't. I could care less. I'm tired of watching the wailing and crying and bickering about government who feast off you and me. And without you and me in the private sector, there ain't no government. There's no money for government. There's no money for the federal government. There's no money for state government. There's no money for local. How about respecting people and businesses now? We don't have no respect for people and businesses, the people that are out there busting their fannies. If government produced all this wealth, then we would be the richest state in the world. Because we'd have so much, because we depend. Edwards got us dependent on the federal government so much now, and we depend on state government so much. Man, we ought to be filthy rich and jobs everywhere, and people are making a killing here, and none of that's happening. So don't y'all think it's time to reverse it? Let's put the caboose at the back, which is government, and the economic engine up front. I don't know where it's going. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm not against, I'm not support. I'm just watching, and I hope they're right. I told somebody yesterday, if you can't feel it, touch it, and love on it a little bit. In other words, understand, boy, look at this. I got a little bit more money. Look, my son don't have to leave. They got a job. They got to be able to see it. I'm not cutting anybody. But if we put a tax on the chemical plants, God have mercy, I don't know where we're going. Well, Moon, you don't want to say we get rid of every exemption. Yes, and get rid of business taxes. Oh, that's right. We got to make sure we got enough money for government. Government's got to have their share. Yet, meanwhile, there was an article today, Quinn Hill, Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise started a budgetary gator hunt in Washington. You got Elon Musk and Ramaswamy. They're going to look to cut government. Folks, the message was sent. We're sick of spending money. We saw it. I think there's too much weight on trying to make sure government got the 0.45 and the 1 cent that Bell put on us was a lie that we were $2 billion in deficit. That's a lie from hell. Stephanie Grace repeated it again today or yesterday. She repeated it again because Stephanie Grace don't know nothing about nothing. She don't know crap. He writes, Edwards inherited a $2 billion budget deficit. Prove it. 9 years now, I want somebody to prove it to me. Anybody can call and tell me we had a $2 billion budget deficit. I begged Bell Edwards and the legendary Jay Darden, the backstabber himself, and they wouldn't come on the program because it's a lie. It was a made-up lie. It was never $2 billion. Never. But yet everybody bought into it. Nobody checked the facts. And so we passed the 1 cent sales tax that was temporary for, I think, 27 months. And then we went to 0.45. Paula Pelosi Davis walking around loving a tax year for 7 years. Now that's going to go back to a penny forever. Forever on a tax we should have never voted the first time. By the way, on the 1 cent, that was raising taxes, y'all. John Paul Cusson. I'll never vote taxes on America, on a citizen of Louisiana. First vote, 1 cent sales tax, $2.2 billion. Oh, yeah, folks, I don't forget things. One day I might, but not right now. And then it became a 0.45 for 7 years, which is about $3.5 billion. Now it's going to be a 1 cent forever on a tax that should have never been passed the first time, and definitely the 0.45 should have never passed. We can't let nothing go. Why? Because when government gets all, listen to me. All this why I don't see any cuts in government, because why? We can't cut government. You can't cut government, you can't have tax reform. I don't mean to get too excited, folks. I want something big. I credit Landry for stepping to the table. I just think we got too much focus on government and not as much focus on the businesses and the people. I work in the government workers all the time. Some of them almost apologize for working for government. Don't apologize to me. I tell people, don't apologize for your job. You're working. I get it. Folks, we got to get a grip. We're going to let this thing, we just going to, let me tell you something. We better be able to see and feel it. So if they pass it, then what we're going to pass next year. Because I can promise you, by talking to North Carolina and these other states, it was every year you had to pass something. And, of course, we don't want to touch the trial lawyers. Oh, no, they too busy beating up the insurance companies that won't come here. They too busy on TV. I got $2 billion. I got $3 billion. Well, that's nice. Everybody else is getting the hell out of here. Anyway, let me take a quick call before I take a break. Norman, what's going on?
Moon, I want to take an indirect approach to my question or my statement. First of all, I've been involved with agriculture off and on for 75 years. Over time, LSU Ag and LADF have come up with this concept called best management practices. And that's what made there's been a lot of changes and improvements in the time that I've been around farming.
Okay.
And I'm thinking to myself, is there any possible way that instead of all this tumult and excitement and stress, if we could send somebody to see the successful states that don't have an income tax and somehow manage to finance their government, how do you do it? How do you do it? And that's
hey, Bart, can I tell you real quick, Norm? Can I tell you real quick? If you have a spending problem, you can't do it. If you don't focus on the spending end of the ledger, you can't do it. And Iowa cut 21 agencies. 21, save $300 million.
I know. Listen, I don't know whether we have a spending problem or not. I want to know whether we have a spending. I want somebody to go see how do you do it, and I'm going to do it. Oh, by the way, I don't think there's too many starving trial lawyers in them other states either. That's all I got to say.
Oh, you're right. They got money everywhere. By the way, Norman, you seen any trial lawyers moving out the state to another state so they can do better, be better? Can you name one firm that said we getting out of Louisiana? Exxon left. Exxon building a refinery over in Texas.
Well, sometimes on Mississippi and Alabama, there's some guy that's got some billboards there, but that's about the only place in my nationwide travel, not very in my travel, that I see trial lawyer billboards. We got a lot more of them over here, though. You know.
Well, remember, we still have to deal with insurance and insurance reform and liability and truckers and all that stuff. That we still got to deal with all that. You can't.
Moon. Do you think they have the same problem in the best run states? I would say we're one of the worst run states. What do they do with their problems in the best run states? Let's go see how they do it and do it. Yep. There is no great mysteries involved, I don't think.
Yeah. All right, got to run. I agree with you, though. We can look at other states. Bye. We just choose not to. All right, got to take a break. 844-766-6607 is the number. If you want to be part of it, Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. Love to hear from you as well. We'll take a break. Be right back. I've been telling you about Schumacher Homes for a long time. Now, for a limited time, you can choose from 5 different financing offers and pick one that works best for you. Whether you're an active duty, military, or veteran, you can take advantage of the exclusive VA construction loan offer. You can lock in 30-year fixed financing for as low as 3.875. How about that? Looking to stay in your home and start construction right away? A stay-in-your-home loan might be right for you. With this option, you can stay in your home during construction and not worry about moving twice. And for you first-time home buyers, we're not going to forget you. For a limited time, they're offering 30-year fixed financing as low as 3.875. Other financing offers include no-cost refinancing, conventional loans, and FHA construction loans. If you're thinking of building your dream custom home, there's no time like the present to start building. SchumacherHomes.com. SchumacherHomes.com. Let them build your dream home. They're building dream homes one at a time.
Our state is facing a budget shortfall, left over by the last governor. Jeff Landry in the legislature already cut $2 billion for spending we don't need. Now they have to deal with this shortfall, but they've got a plan to deal with that and move Louisiana forward. This is what Governor Landry said.
This Louisiana Forward Plan, when fully implemented by the legislature and ratified by the people of this state, will produce more jobs, a greater prosperity, lower our taxes, and bring us a sustainable budget.
This plan cuts taxes for the middle class and all taxpayers, with the income tax rate dropped to just 3%. Job creators can grow the economy with lower taxes. Families and senior citizens, no more prescription drug sales tax. A different tax system which focuses on choices, not labor. And the Louisiana voters, we get the final say. Fixing the shortfall, cutting taxes, growing our economy, now that's moving Louisiana forward. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Hello, Kitty. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. What a day. Great day. Great to be with you. 844-766-6607. I did get another call. They said the bill, I told you that they were worried about the chemical plants. They did not know where it was at, but there was some bills in there that would literally make them pay a lot more. But once again, it's just a process. I just was a little frustrated in the fact I want to see something happen. I want to see it happen in a big way. My assessment is, it's just my assessment, okay? My assessment is the reason things can't move because most of the representatives, including Republicans, okay? Matter of fact, you got to say Republicans because they own it, 2/3 in the House, 2/3 in the Senate. You got to quit looking at does you reinforce money for government. If everything's about the government, folks, let's all give 100% of our income and let the government take care of us. It works very well in Venezuela and Russia and Cuba, right? We got to be more, just how do we replace it? How do we replace it? How do we replace it? How do we replace the revenue? I don't care. How do I replace mine from the inflation? How do I replace mine when taxes go up? How do I replace mine if the sales tax goes up? How do I replace mine? And I say mine, I'm talking about everybody out there listening, all 9.5 of y'all. How do we replace ours? Nobody ever, hey, Moon, how are you going to be able to pay for that? Oh, I don't know. Get a fourth job. You know? I'm just, why don't we ask the right question? You know? If the question is, how do we replace revenue, we're starting at a bad point. I mean, if that's the big question, how we replace the revenue, and that's what the media, how are you going to replace it? Why does everything got to be, how do I replace mine? How do you replace yours? Okay, let me give you an example. Everybody knows inflation has killed a lot of us middle working class people, poor people. Okay? Your car, you got your new insurance for next year on your car, on your house. Did it go down? Nope. Mandated, went up, didn't it? How do I replace that? How do I get money for inflation? How do I get money on insurance? Okay? It's never, I wonder how the middle class and working class people are going to pay for their bills. Let me give you another example. Louisiana, cost of living crisis. Louisiana struggles the most. Louisiana is revered to be the state struggling the most aimed at the cost of living crisis with almost 30% of the population unable to pay their energy bills. Louisiana. New research has revealed a state that has been struggling the most since the start of the cost of living crisis, and Louisiana comes first. Louisiana receiving the highest possible score of 10 in the category. Residents in Louisiana spend an average of 9.2% of their yearly salary on groceries alone, the most of any state. So that's an increase of 108% compared to Virginia, where residents spend less than 4.43%. We don't have the job. The average salary is $43,000 a year. And we're sitting here worried about how much money can we get out the taxpayers to make sure state and local governments have a lot of money. That don't make any sense to me. And you can't explain it to me. And I don't care if Bill Edwards tried to explain it to me. I couldn't learn. There's no way to explain this to me. And yet, besides all that, when Bill Boyd came in, we added $20-something billion to the budget. And I said back then, you can't maintain this. But just a dumb guy on the radio, what does he know? And here we are going through a session. And if we let the media get to them, go, how are you going to replace the revenue? I don't know. We're trying to give some revenue back to the citizens and the businesses so they can make a living. But just like I told you with education, we're losing people to homeschooling. We're losing people to out-migration. And we better have some more money. So that's my frustration with this whole thing with taxes. I'd be the first. I don't know everything going on, but I got to tell you, some of the people that in the legislature don't know what's going on. You know? Oh, man. It's, folks, we got to get it right. I want to get it right. I'm praying for Governor Landry and the legislature to get it right. It's got to be more about how do we help the business community grow? How do we help individuals grow? You know, through attrition, I think the state loses somewhere between 10 and 15, 16% employees a year. Why can't they just do away with some of those positions? Okay? You know? Somebody just told me the kid was offered $75,000. Construction engineer. Pretty good salary, right? Let me add South Carolina. You know, South Carolina, the state where we had more people than they did in 2000. About 360,000 more people than they had. 2020 census says they now have 600,000 plus more people than us. You know, a state that's growing. A state that's growing. I'm sure that the man and woman would love to see their kids stay here. Everywhere I go, kids are gone. See, that's what the focus ought to be. Not on government. When Bill Edwards came in, they outright lied about a $2 billion budget deficit to get taxes. Outright. Then they said, what? No LSU football. Although some people might say that might be pretty good right now. I'm joking, folks. Everybody goes through tough times. That's what they told people. You knew it was a lie then when they said that. You knew it was a lie. I knew it was a lie. Everybody knew it was a lie. Bill Edwards said it, though. Why did Bill Edwards say it? He wanted to get $2 billion. He needed to get money. Somebody just wrote from me, I live in Virginia now, man. High property and auto tax, low sales tax and insurance. Well, we're not like other states. I'll be the first to tell you. But there's no excuse to say we can't. They have no problem taking the money out of your pocket and mine. When it comes to taking from government, we can't. Sick of hearing that. We can't. We can't or we won't. And that's two different things. The media hurts us. The devil's advocate, ignorance that comes up. When I come back, good Stephanie Grace story again. Don't know what she's talking about. Don't have a clue. And if you know her, please tell her to listen. No clue. Stephanie disgrace. No clue at all. Keeps repeating the same rhetoric and the same lie. I want her to prove there's a $2 billion budget deficit. when Bill Edwards came in. By the way, he voted for 3/4 of Bobby Jindal's budgets. If anybody created a budget deficit, it was him. But even he didn't create a $2 billion budget deficit. $19 billion backlog in roads and bridges. Who in the hell would do that? Ask John Alario. Ask John Alario under his watch. We got a $19 billion budget deficit. For bridges and backlog. And we lost 2 congressmen when John Alario came on. But everybody patted him on the back with great leadership. Anyway, when we get back, a lot more to cover, some national as well. Don't go away. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Cane Real Pecan giveaway as well at the end of the next hour.
Miles Barrett, Cancer.
Hi, I'm Jenna Ushkowitz. Animals protect, comfort, and give us their love. It's time we repaid the favor. American Humane encourages everyone to do 4 simple things. Adopt from a local rescue group or shelter, help animals in disasters by becoming an American Humane Rescue volunteer, choose only humanely raised foods, and help endangered creatures by supporting American Humane certified institutions. Visit AmericanHumane.org to learn more.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pro Studio.
He's planning to declare a national emergency. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President-elect Trump appeared to confirm that in a post on Truth Social to carry out his vowed mass deportation of immigrants who came to the U.S. illegally. He wrote "Pride True" in all caps with 3 exclamation points to a post that said the incoming Trump administration is preparing to declare the emergency and use military assets.
Trump is likely to enact a series of executive orders right away, which could end parole for some migrants from places like Cuba, Venezuela. Trump's incoming border czar insists this, however, will be a targeted approach.
That's Fox's Mark Meredith.
Over the weekend, Democrats said this is not about national security, it's about the economy. That's the new message coming off the Hill, is that mass deportations could mean higher prices. Multiple Democratic governors are also vowing to block any wide-ranging federal deportation program.
President Biden's gathered with world leaders at a summit of G20 countries in Brazil with Russia's invasion of Ukraine a big topic.
The United States strongly supports Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Everyone around this table, in my view, should as well.
This is the day after the president authorized Ukraine to use long-range American missiles striking deep inside Russia in the Kursk region. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reports from the summit in Rio.
North Korean forces have deployed to this area of Kursk up to 10,000 ultimately, according to the latest intelligence. Now, Biden's decision to use these longer-range missiles comes one day after Russia launched one of its largest attacks on Ukraine since the start of this war, firing over 200 missiles and drones targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure.
Those attacks have also killed at least 21 people. As Israel keeps battling Iran-backed militants, families of Americans killed in the October 7th terror attack last year that triggered the war in Gaza are suing Iran and its groups in court.
46 U.S. citizens were killed on that day. 12 were taken hostage, of which 3 are now presumed dead. The suit is predicated on documents recovered from Gaza detailing how Hamas leaders requested $7 million from Iran's regime to carry out the terror attack.
Evan Brown, America's listening to Fox News.
If your approach to everyday aches and pains is to mask them, feel better for a few hours only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again, it's time to try Relief Factor. And the good news is Relief Factor makes that easy. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it. How? Well, its unique formula of ingredients helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors. It's 100% drug-free, and for so many people, the results are game-changing, even life-changing. So give it a try. Right now, their 3-week quick start is just $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask pain. Fight it naturally. with
Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, are specially trained volunteers that help secure safe homes for abused and neglected children. Don't let these innocent victims slip through the cracks of our complicated legal system. Get involved today. Call CASA at 268-5111. This nonprofit organization moment brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Every day at 5 p.m. right here on News Talk 96.5 KPEL, it's me, Joe Cunningham, with The Joe Cunningham Show, offering you news, analysis, and commentary you're not going to get anywhere else. The big news stories of the day, and even some of the headlines you may not be aware of. It's your local, state, and national news coverage from a local perspective right here. Every day, News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Check us out, The Joe Cunningham Show, every day at 5 p.m.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hello, welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. It is always awesome to be with you. Best audience in the world. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. All right, 844-766-6607 is the numbers of Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. We are honored to have Dr. Cade Brumley on with us, our Superintendent of Education. Dr. Brumley, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, Moon. Thanks for having me.
Well, y'all got through something y'all were a little nervous about, and I know I had to go back and forth. I saw it finally passed, and y'all got what y'all needed. So let's talk about what y'all got done, what passed to help y'all get. I'm gonna say the education savings accounts rocking and rolling. It may be more than that, but at least that.
No, that's a good frame there, Moon. So look, this past legislative session, legislature passed, and the governor enthusiastically signed the state's first ever educational savings account, the Gator program. And when we move towards implementation, one of the things that we have to have is a program manager to facilitate that program, because what we didn't want to do within our agency is to hire a bunch of additional, bureaucrats and have legacy costs associated with staffing. So we wanted to use an external vendor with that level of expertise to build the platforms, to train the schools, to help the families. And so we worked through that process. We negotiated a contract. We hit some delays in the Senate, but ultimately this last Friday we were able to get that contract approved, and that's good news, because that moves us forward, because what we intend to do is launch the program and be able to begin taking applications in March from families.
Dr. Brumley, it had to be a little nerve-wracking because it looked like it was delayed a little bit. Now, I don't want to get into the politics. Was it delayed? Did they need more information? What happened with delaying the process? And it looked delayed to me. Now, maybe that's not the right word, but that's what I'm going to use.
No, I'm going to go with you on that, Moon. It was delayed. And what we had done as an agency at the Louisiana Department of Education is really try to get ahead of everything on the educational savings account and be proactive. We even work with the State Board of Education to make sure everything's lined out and that they have done everything that they needed to do. But this was delayed a couple of months. And so what we ended up having to do is just really, really work to convince everyone that if they didn't act, that they were really jeopardizing the launch of this program, because it's a brand new program for the state of Louisiana. To be able to expand educational freedom for families. And it was unfortunately delayed for, reasons I'm not going to speculate around, but we were able to get it done on Friday. It's a big sigh of relief for us as an agency, because we want nothing more than to serve the families well. And in order to do that, we need the lead-up time to make sure we can get that done.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the program. What does the program do? Okay. Who Who can be expected to be helped with this? When is it going to be implemented? When will we see things start to happen with this program? Tell us a little bit. That way you can update us on everything we need to know.
That sounds good. So the Louisiana Gator program is Louisiana's first ESA program where the state dollars will follow the child. So it's basically broken into 3 phases. The first phase being a set of students, the next set being another set, and then third being essentially universal. So what we're looking at in this first phase are students that are presently on the state's existing voucher program, as well as students, for instance, of a certain economical standpoint with their families, special needs students, et cetera. So we're going to have all that broken down. We're going to communicate that to the public very well over the next few months. We're going to open up applications for families to apply. At that point, too, we're going to have to request an appropriation from the legislature to fund the program. And ultimately, what we hope to see happen is this next school year, which would be in August of 25, the program would successfully launch for that first set of students.
Yeah, God, well, it's pretty close then. But it takes a while to implement before you actually kick the program in, because a lot of people thought we'd already started. And I said, I think what has to happen is there's a lot of process to go through to set it up to make sure it's good. The other thing is there's no court battles in this, so you have to go through court battles as well.
Right. And what I like to explain to people, Moon, too, is like an educational savings account is different from, say, a voucher. A voucher, you can take it and just go apply it at a private school. The ESA, you basically think of it like this. Every family would have their state share basically in an account, and then they would be able to go onto a platform that we have created. We'll be creating with the vendor, and they'll be able to select from various services. And so if they want to apply their dollars to a non-public school, they can select that school. It would be deducted from their account. So we have to build this, fairly sophisticated platform that's very user-friendly to the families, so that we can move this program forward. And we can't do something like that with the staff that we have, nor should we, whenever we can go out into the private market and get people with the expertise to do that, and then also not commit to long-term legacy costs in state government.
Yeah, it's so much that goes into this. I know y'all happy about it. I'm just glad that you at least got the process on the way. Do you know how many students this will affect, Dr. Brumley? Is there any way to even take a guess how many kids are going to be involved in this?
Yeah, that's a real challenge. What we know right now, Moon, is the current voucher program has about 6,000 kids on that. So we know at a minimum we need to take care of those students initially. But we also know that we're hearing of a lot of interest from families across the state that just want to exercise their right of ed freedom, and we want to do that. And, these educational savings accounts are new across the country. I mean, there are a handful of states that are doing it, and it's, at times a little bumpy and shaky, and I assume we'll have our challenges here with the launch because it's a new program. Yeah. But we want to do everything that we can to execute, and I feel like we've got a good team and a lot of support to be able to do that work.
You think it'd be a certain type kid? I'm not talking about race. Do you think it'd be a certain type family and kid that would do this? That would take, because one of the things people got to understand, if you're happy with your school system, don't worry about it. Just stay where you're at. Everything's good. And I think a lot of people will be happy with their school system.
Oh, I think that's true. I mean, I think overwhelmingly families across the state are pretty satisfied where they are, whether it's in a traditional neighborhood school or a public charter or they're non-public. Most families are pretty happy with where they are. But what we think we'll see here, A, is the existing students on that voucher program, and then B, that first set of students, Moon, will be students that are coming from more economically disadvantaged families. So they are getting the priority at the beginning in that first phase. And then that is basically like an income scale as you move towards universal implementation in that third phase. And I think that's right. I mean, I think it's right to prioritize those families at the beginning and then move towards universal.
Will this be first through 12th grade with a chance to move, 9th through 12th? How's that work?
Yeah, so it's K-12.
Okay,
It's a K-12 program, so
Okay.
it will be the whole range.
Okay, yeah, and I wanted to mention, I was going to say kindergarten. I didn't know if you were going to go down as far as. Let me ask you a quick question, just a couple more minutes. I'm going to get you out of here. I know we got an out-migration problem. A lot of people turned to homeschooling after COVID. How does that affect budgetary situation? You think if you have less students, you need less money. But I'm just asking, does that affect y'all at all when it comes to money, budgetary, and things of that nature?
Well, it's a really interesting question, and I may not answer it exactly what you're asking, but I do think this is good information for the public. So we have seen an increase in homeschooling numbers across the state. I think that's good. I'm a fan of homeschool, and I want to do everything within my power to protect the independence of homeschool families. We have seen about a 4 or 5% decrease in public school enrollment over the last decade, and we've seen about an 11 or 12% decrease in private school enrollment over the last decade. So what that tells me, Moon, is that this is not necessarily dissatisfaction with the traditional public system or any system. It tells me that the economic conditions in the state of Louisiana aren't good. Yeah. And we have to be working around those issues to attract families back into the state of Louisiana and to have families stay. Because whenever you look at the private school enrollment dropping by over 10% in a decade, to me, that's indicative of an economic situation in the state, and that's what we've got to turn around.
No, you actually answered it pretty dang good because you talked about the economics of it. Look, if families are leaving and they're leaving for better jobs, it's going to affect public and private schools. It's going to affect both. And private schools, I would think it would affect them more because you're looking at pure economics on it. And there's some kids or parents, if they don't have the jobs, go, we were sending our kids to private school. We can't do that anymore. So I know it's a problem. It's a problem on budget. I got one big question left for you. And you may not want to answer it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Your name's been floating around for Trump Superintendent of Education. Is that really a thought? Is that something you just honored that they put your name out there, or is that really not even a consideration?
Yeah, I mean, it had been circulating a good bit, and then whenever the Washington Post listed me as one of the finalists on the short list, that really accelerated that conversation around here. But, it's an honor to be considered. I think the president's putting forward a really bold agenda around educational choice for families, removing that radical ideology that we've seen in some places. And we look forward to doing everything that we can do to support that. Right now I'm focused on the work here. But certainly my being mentioned and considered is a testament to the work we've all done together.
Yeah, last question, a little fun question. You're a doctor. They put a banana on a wall and taped it with duct tape. And the wall art piece valued at $1 million is got mockery all over the place. I'm going, would you value a banana with a piece of duct tape taped on a wall as $1 million? You're a smart guy.
Moon, I saw one. I saw a Chuck Taylor tennis shoe in a museum just sitting there that someone had lost. And everyone was going around and taking pictures of the shoe, thinking that was artwork. I mean, that's where we are right now. So,
I'm looking at this on Breitbart. I'm falling out of lab. Mockery erupts after banana duct taped to wall. Art piece valued at $1 million. If that's the case, I'm going to the Super One. I'm buying me a bunch of bananas and duct tape, and I'm gonna go all over the place. I'm gonna be rich.
Well, before long, Moon, some crazy person that doesn't agree with things like oil and natural gas is going to go throw some wine on it or something and try to destroy the banana.
All right. God bless you, Dr. Brumley. Good luck.
All right. Take care.
All right. We'll be right back.
As Louisiana's only fiberglass manufacturer and fabricator, C-Safe Fiberglass Grading and Structural Systems has provided corrosion-resistant products to the Gulf Coast for over 45 years. Our fiberglass grading, cable trays, and structural shapes are ideal to replace corroded, rotting building products and can be custom fabricated by the best fiberglass craftsmen in the world, right here in Lafayette. Contact C-Safe or visit our website at csafe.com. That's S-E-A like the ocean, S-A-F-E.com.
If you've got some projects to do around the house and you need the voice of experience, of local voice, somebody that can help you and knows Louisiana, you need to check out Stein Home & Yard. They're a Louisiana company, founded, established here. They've been based here. Their story dates back all the way to 1946. Stein Home & Yard has all the things you need to make your house ready for fall. Great deals on fall plants like mums, as well as all sorts of handy items you need for your house. Need to upgrade your power tool game? They've got great deals on DeWalt power tools. They also have great deals on grills for your next tailgate for the big game this weekend. Traeger pellet grills, Weber grills, Charbroil, so many great brands, and it's all right there at your fingertips. Just pull them up, steinhome.com. Steinhome.com is where you need to go to find the greatest deals on your home improvement needs. Steinhome.com, a great Louisiana company.
This is Moon Griffon. The sun has never raised its rates, but your local energy company sure has. Solar Louisiana can install residential home solar systems with huge battery storage, or they can add batteries to your existing system. If there's an outage, you are sitting pretty with all the electricity you need. Imagine an electric bill so low, you can pay it with pocket change you find in your couch. Solar Louisiana has the experience you need to make the right decision. Online at solarlouisiana.net. Your energy independence company, Solar Louisiana.
For electric.
Atlas Foundation Repair, 800-256-1010. Louisiana-owned Atlas Foundation Repair, 800-256-1010. Call Tony Arpino. I have known him for years. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. It is awesome to be with you today on a beautiful Tuesday. Guess we're getting ready to get rain, huh? Yeah, I think we got some rain rolling in here, but that's good. That's good. We've been getting a bunch of that lately. All righty, folks. It is the Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline, 844-766-6607. You can email me, moon@moongriffon.com. And if you want to win some Cane Red Pecans, we're going to do a drawing here at the end of this hour. So somebody will be lucky. A lot of lucky winners. Somebody even got a pie, so that was kind of cool, too. Okay, so, I'm tired of, I'm like I'm fighting the shadow on this. It's like I'm fighting myself. I'm like going into the wall and beating myself up on this $2 billion budget deficit that Bill Edwards and Jay Darden made up and lied about. And I wish one of them would come on the program and explain it to us. 9 years I've been asking for it. So Stephanie Grace, disgrace. Stephanie Grace will lie and smile at it. Now, Stephanie Grace is the type person that steal your false teeth while you're sleeping, and when you walk down the hall by, she'll smile with your teeth in her mouth. Rhetoric aside, Jeff Landry is not following Bobby Jindal's disastrous path, and it all goes back to the Stelly bill. Okay? All goes back to the Stelly bill. And the Stelly bill, I'm not going to go back over it, but it was just a tax swap. It was taking a temporary sales tax that they said we only needed for 2 years, and they spread it out over 16, 18 years. So he talks about Jindal. Bobby Jindal was a better governor than Bill Edwards. Okay, what anybody says. Now, if you work for government, you might not think that. But Bobby Jindal was a lot better governor than Bill Edwards ever thought to be. Bill Edwards hurt this state and set us back 10 years. One of the problems Jeff has is coming back behind land. Bill Edwards, if he could see the vision of government shrinking and the legislature could see that, we could change this. So here's what Stephanie Grace says. Even after raiding one-time money to pay reoccurring expenses, you know that happened under Bill Edwards a lot. That's why you got a budget deficit. She says expenses and cutting things like higher education. Jindal still left behind a $2 billion budgetary hole. A 20% approval rating and a Democrat elected by his Republican-leaning constituents to try to clean up the mess. All that's a lie. His approval might have got down in the 30s, but it never got to 20. Bill Edwards' approval number when he left was 38 or 39%. She forgets that. Jindal never left. Let me explain something on budgets. You realize governors have no vote on the budget? They present it. The legislature votes on budget. Number two, there was never, ever a $2 billion budget deficit when Jindal left. If you go back and just look at the debates between Edwards and Vitter, they were always talking about a budget deficit somewhere between $600 and $800 million. You know when we got to $2 billion? Right when Edwards, of course, Jay Darden, the backstabber, original backstabber, stabbed veteran Republicans and conservatives and Christians in the back. And I predicted this, and I also predicted that he'll be his right-hand man, and he was. He was led up the administration. And they conjured all this stuff. In the meantime, look, every governor wants money so they can be reelected. They conjured this up and said, we can get to $2 billion budget deficit. You know what they did? They took $1 billion to $1.1 billion budget deficit, figured out what they wanted and needed. That's where the $2 billion came from. There was never a $2 billion budget deficit. And let me tell you something else. Bell Edwards didn't inherit it. Bell Edwards helped create it. You know how they give him a pass? Edwards, who was a rookie in the legislature, had naively voted for the big general tax cut. Oh, see, he was a freshman. He didn't know. Bell didn't know. Bell voted not one of General's budgets, 6 of them. And I don't count the last one because he was running. But he voted for 6 of the first 7. He voted for 6 of the first. He voted for one-time money going all over the place. He gets to come and play governor. Him and Bell Edwards and the media who helped get him elected, especially the devil's advocate, they created the $2 billion budget deficit. They created out of thin air. 9 years I've been wanting somebody to come spank me on this, beat the hell out of me, make fun of me on this. They can't because they're embarrassed. We had Tyler Bridges, the twit set right out. I told him, go check it out. I'm going to check that out. And I heard from him. And I heard from the Tyler Bridges. Where's Stephanie Grace? Tell Stephanie Grace to tell us how we got $2 billion. She can't. She's just writing crap. She don't know nothing. Anyway, we'll be right back and wrap this up. I've been bragging about Dino Hardwoods for a long time. A good friend, Charles Altman. They do an excellent job. And if you're looking for unique or hard-to-find hardwood lumber, plywood, and molding, is Dino Hardwoods. That's where you need to go. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com. Trust Dino Hardwoods for all your hardwood lumber and cypress needs. With the holiday season fast approaching, as you know, a timeless handmade gift using quality lumber by Dino just means more. With 3 great locations to serve you now, Broussard, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, and now he's expanded in Tyler, Texas. Folks, there's something for every discerning woodworker at Dino. Go to DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com, and check out the unique and hard-to-find hardwood, lumber, plywood, and molding that you can't just find anywhere. Charles Altman, trust me, is not a better man in the business. He knows what he's doing, and he wants to service you. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com.
If you are a loved one or suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metayer.
We help people through their detox with minimal withdrawal symptoms. Even though it's a 10-day treatment, I look at the first 4 or 5 days as the brain restoration piece. And when the brain restoration piece turns on, that's when we have patients go, wow, a light bulb turned on or a switch was turned on. All of a sudden, their prefrontal cortex is working and their midbrain is also working. They're not craving. They're thinking clearly. They see things clearly and they have more confidence.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 225-755-9566.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
225-755-9566. 755-9566. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com.
Hey guys, Donald Trump.
I heard the call to serve. So I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging. An unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Hi, hello, welcome back. It is the Moon Griffon Show. What a day to be with you. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. I'm still laughing. Banana on the wall with a duct tape. Estimate $1 million. That ain't, by the way, that's not the fool I want to know. I want to know who the fool is would give somebody $1 million to put some duct tape with a banana on the wall and call it art. I mean, that's the kind of crap we've been going through with 4 years, or at least since Barack Obama came on the scene. Stupidity at the highest level. A banana with duct tape on the wall. My little grandbabies, they'll be crying for that banana. Well, son, you can't have those, but that banana, they'll be crying for it. Eventually, I have to rip the duct tape off the wall, pull the paint off, and give them the banana. There goes my $1 million. My grandbabies want to eat a banana. They love bananas. I bet they look at it, they think it's probably worth $1 million. Stupidity, man. Just unbelievable. And you know what? That's what's been running our country for a good while now. So let me explain this really carefully, folks. You can get mad at me. I just can't worry about that. We never had a $2 billion budget deficit when Bell came in. The deficit was created by Bell Edwards himself for voting for budgets that were bad. Bell Edwards was also, Bellboy was also a floor leader for guess who? Bobby Jindal. Everybody acts like, oh, Bell ain't got nothing to do with it. Bell made us prosper. Bell drove this state into the ground. He hurt us. He hurt us bad. There was never a $2 billion budget deficit. I'd love for him to, he's an attorney, he's smarter than I am, come in and explain that. He wouldn't do it. You realize I offered, the flunky, Mark Cooper. I offered to go to the mansion and do a show with him and Jay Darden on the side and me on the other side. 2 hours. They turned me down. That's the God is my witness. That's true. Turned me down. I was going to let them embarrass me on my own program. Turned me down. I wonder why. They knew this question was coming up. They couldn't explain it, folks. They couldn't lie their way through that. But they don't have to. The media, especially the devil's advocate, keep putting that lie out there. And it's a lie. There was never a $2 billion. The $2 billion came from the $1.1 billion deficit and the $900 million or $1 billion they wanted to spend. Every governor wants money to spend. Every governor wants that. And Bell Edwards was no different. And then we had a flood, and then we had some hurricanes, and then we had COVID. And Bell was on easy street because he knew he would have a lot of money to do whatever he wanted to. He walked out the office with about a 38% vote approval. He also wanted 10-year-olds to get their private parts cut off. He also wanted boys to be in the girls' bathroom. He also shut down businesses unnecessarily. He also never went get business in here, and he strengthened the trial lawyers even more. That dude hurt this state in more ways than I could count. Well, Mooney's he's gone now. Yes, he is. But the damage continues. Then you get two bozos like Blank Page Cortez and this shake's not a shakedown fella, and it really got bad for Republicans. Then the sort of state said, look, let's give the Republicans everything. Let's give them the governorship, the House, and the Senate. We got it. We got it all now. What are we going to do? You know, the inflation's killing people. That's straight from the federal government. But the state government and everybody else is taking as much money as they can from the state, from the federal government. That's hurting us. Now we got it. I've heard we got a spending problem since I've been doing the program. And we do. You cannot fix a spending. Listen, folks, this is so simple economics. Go text Dave Ramsey if you don't believe me. You cannot fix a spending problem with more revenue. You can't. You can't address, if you don't address the problem, you can't fix it. It's absolutely 100% impossible. You think if I got a sinus problem, you think buying new shoes is going to help my sinuses? If I got a sinus problem, you think toe fungus on my toes are going to help the sinus? No. So if you got a spending problem, more revenue is no way to help. Okay, I got a spending problem. I got 4 car notes, and I can't pay my bills. How many of you people would go buy another car note and that ought to fix it? Let me ask you a question. If I could borrow the money to pay my car notes for a while, and I'm in big-time debt, is that going to fix a spending problem? No. Running up more debt doesn't fix a spending problem. Taking more revenue from the citizens in Louisiana and the businesses will never fix a spending problem. Jeff needs to go get somebody outside this. Nobody wants to do this, but this is my recommendation to the governor. They're going to bring in, Trump's going to bring in Musk and Ramaswamy, who neither one of them been in the federal government, to come look at our spending. If it was me and I was the governor, I'd find somebody that don't live in this state, that lives in a red state. Nobody you know politically. Look, we waste money anyway. And let somebody come in here from outside in a state that's functioning, Florida, whatever, and say, come tell us what we're doing wrong financially. You know, folks, think about this. What kind of leadership, and I go back to John Alario because he was there for 50 years, 48, whatever it was. What kind of leadership would allow your roads and infrastructure to be $19 billion in backlog? Now, $19 billion. You can never catch up. You watch, they'll come out with a road tax next. You can't catch $19 billion up. Who would allow it to get to $9 billion? Who would allow it to get to $5 billion? Poor leadership and spending priority and spending priorities were not there, so we spend money everywhere but fixing roads. Now we got a problem. Now we can't fix our roads. We're $19 billion in the hole. We got a debt problem. Our unfunded accrued liability is going to be due up in 2029. We're just going to refinance that again, which would be more money out of our pockets. You got to get a grip. You got a spending problem, deal with the spending problem. If you don't deal with the spending problem, you're not going to fix it. You know, if you own a retail store and you said, I'm not running up any debt anymore. I'm not doing it. And let's say you don't have any debt. Let's say you got a retail store, you have any debt, but business is not good. Okay, that might be a revenue problem. I don't really have much debt, but I don't have nothing coming in. That's a revenue problem. Inflation causes a revenue problem. If you make it $50,000, $100,000 a year and inflation skyrockets up, and you got a house note and a car note and the kids in private school, you got a revenue problem there. I get it. If you got 14 credit cards and 4 car notes, you got a spending problem. So if we got a spending problem, why don't we address the spending problem? You can't fix it if you don't address it. And what do you do when you have a spending problem? What happens when you dig in a hole? What's the first rule of digging a hole? When you get too deep, quit digging. Or when you're spending too much, you have to quit spending. I wish all these legislators could go to Dave Ramsey's class. Let Dave Ramsey talk about spending. But government's different. It's different because we made it different. If Joe Biden and the Democratic left and the Bell Edwards of the world, they made people dependent on the government. They thought this was always helping them. You didn't help them, you hurt them. And you hurt everybody else that's got to foot the bill. So our Medicaid expansion wasn't good. Medicaid expansion hurts we're printing money at the federal level to no end. What we trying to do, make sure everybody's bankrupt, make sure nobody can get any care. It's a spending problem. It's the same problem at the federal government. But what happens in our state, we think everything's a revenue problem. Where are we going to go get the money from? People are leaving. Businesses are leaving. Nothing's growing here. Well, let's go tax everybody that's still here. That's not that bright, folks. I might be wrong, but that's not that bright to me. We have a spending problem, and the legislature and the governor need to deal with it. We got to deal with it. Straight up, head up, and we can't worry about where all the spending's been going if that's part of the problem. You know, state government, local governments are all begging the state government. State government's begging the federal government. Think about it, it's 50 states, and we're a small state. California, New York in the same boat, they're begging for money. Anyway, so when you see Stephanie Grace, who's a liar and keeps lying about the $2 billion, if you see her, let her come explain the $2 billion budget deficit. I'd love for somebody, write it. Her and Tyler Bridges ought to do a story on how we got a $2 billion budget deficit. They ought to let people know how we got a $2 billion budget deficit. They can't because it wasn't a $2 billion budget deficit. That was a lie from hell. And it worked because they passed all these taxes. Here we are talking about the 0.45 going back to 1.0. The 1.0 went down to 0.45. 0.45 going back to 1 cent. It makes no sense at all. We got to take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show.
It started with direct messages. That's how they got to my son. Gavin was just 17 and looking forward to college. He was contacted by online predators pretending to be a teenage girl. He was the victim of sexual extortion. In less than 2 hours after that first message, Gavin died by suicide. It's a pain I don't want any other parent to feel. Social media is causing an epidemic of bullying, anxiety, and depression, and it's leaving kids vulnerable to the kind of predators that targeted my son. We have to hold big tech accountable and pass the Kids Online Safety Act. I couldn't protect my son, but now it's my mission to make sure all kids are protected. I'm a father and a proud conservative, and I'm here to tell Speaker Johnson, pass the Kids Online Safety Act, because nothing is more important than protecting our kids.
Paid for by Issue One Action, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. IssueOneAction.org.
Nestled in gently rolling hills in North Louisiana is a place that produces the finest Louisiana wines around. Landry Vineyards. This place is phenomenal. Not only are they passionate about growing wine grapes and making Landry Vineyards wine, they also have cottages and RV sites you can rent, tours, and live music on Saturdays and tastings Monday through Saturday. Available in over 650 stores throughout Louisiana, I encourage you to visit and try Landry wine direct from Landry Vineyards. This is another great Louisiana company that has my full support, and they're Louisiana certified. A red blend they labeled Bayoutage, Blackberry Merlot, Cabs, Rosé, Petite Syrah, dry and sweet whites, and many, many other wines. Learn more about their wines and their vineyard online at LandryVineyards.com. This is Moon Griffon. My lovely bride and I love the wines from this great Louisiana company, Landry Vineyards, and so will you. Go visit their beautiful winery and find them in your local grocery store. If they don't have Landry Vineyards wine, ask and ask again. LandryVineyards.com. Woo, good wine right here.
Here is another.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back. It is always a pleasure to have you with me today. 844-766-6607. My name is Moon Griffon, and I love Louisiana, and I love our country. And I pray to God we will get back on the right track on the federal level, but the state level has to be worked on as well. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline, 844-766-6607. I'll tell you, when I picked this up, it made me sick. Cleo Fields is in Washington preparing for a second round representing Louisiana in Congress. Cleo Fields does not deserve. We blew that. We gave him that seat. I just kind of moved on from it, but gave the man a seat for Congress. Just handed it to him. Just gave it to the man. Woke, go and vote for Jeffries. Liberal leftists supported Hillary, Obama, Bill Clinton. Edward Edwards, he supported him. Well, I mean, if you get $10,000 in a paper bag, wouldn't you support people as well? I know I would. I just never got $10,000 given to me in a paper bag yet. By the way, folks, don't walk up to me and give me $10,000 in a paper bag. You know, you have to report that. Cleo Fields and they just make you sick. Gave away a vote like that. And I'm going to be honest with you, there wasn't much fight against it except me. Just still makes me sick to know that Cleo Fields is a United States congressman again. It does. We handed it to him and we never had to. That's the part that makes you sick. We never had to do what the judge said. I don't listen to the radio guy, I know, but we never had to do that. Oh, that'll eventually go away and nobody will worry about it. But remember, it was Republicans that gave Cleo Fields the district, gave it to him, literally. And had Republicans fought for Elbert Guillory and really fought for it, we might have gotten it wrong. Maybe we wouldn't have won it. Nobody knows. Cleo won with 50.7%. This December would be a totally different turnout. You know? Anyway, it's a shame. By the way, I saw what Michael Moore said. Talking about Trump. Americans' evil deed. We are not good people. Donald Trump, one of the atheists, Michael Moore said we are not good people because Trump won. Michael Moore, who got his money, wants us to be a Marxist, socialist, communist country where everybody's controlled. So we're not good people because we want to be free. I've seen more people so excited about life again. I was so worried about life. They were so scared to death of that election. Just scared to death now. It's like they all got hope all of a sudden. More people, I was at church Sunday and everybody's, man, just feel better. Just feel like we got a shot. Man, if you ain't got hope, you don't have anything. Michael Moore thinks we're evil people because we don't vote for Satan's group. That's what basically he's saying. They're going to try to deem us all. I told y'all Trump took a lot of licks for us. I mean, he took a lot of hits for the American people. I don't care what you think of him. I mean, he took a lot of hits. And that's just the way it is. The other big thing is carbon capture. Saw an article today, the debate puts rural residents in a bind. Louisiana's rapid embrace of carbon capture. By the way, one of the dumbest, if not the dumbest thing you can do with money. And sequestration has put rural residents at the forefront of technology some are not sure is safe. Doesn't even matter. We ought to not, let's say carbon capture was the safest thing we knew. We ought to not be doing it. It ain't their money. It's our money. We ought to not be doing this. We ought to not, they shouldn't be. And I'm telling you, I don't care what all companies tell you, this is the dumbest thing we ever happened. It's money. It's only about money. I told y'all we would be better off and cheaper if everybody walked outside at 6 o'clock to see, put our vacuum cleaners on, knock them down, and let them suck air for an hour. The climate you buy, they're not even buying into the climate change crazy. They're buying into the money that's being put in their pocket. Goes on to talk about a guy from St. Helena resident, been living there, a small piece of land. He'd been enjoying for 20 years, hunt, enjoy the outdoors. Now he's got a problem because somebody came up to him and offered him an upfront payment to return, in other words, so they can consent to put pipes under his house and his property. And if he had declined, the project's probably going to happen anyway because land and it's surrounding him by that own the land, a large timber company has already signed a deal to lease more than 8,000 acres. Why would they lease 8,000 acres? Well, at least 8,000 acres so somebody's putting money in their pocket, in their hands. Carbon capture is a lie from hell. It's a joke. It's stupidity. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's ridiculous that we're allowing this to happen. The people that are against this are 100% right. The people that are for it, they're 1% greedy, and they're taking the money. Greedy as hell. And unfortunately, it involves people with timber and oil and gas people. They get mad at me. I don't care. Lake Maurepas is one of the ones I just don't understand that. Under Lake Maurepas. Meanwhile, state leaders have aggressively boosted the industry, and LSU has created its first-in-the-nation carbon capture concentration within a petroleum engineering curriculum, plans to put a carbon sequestration well on campus. This is stupid, but it's going through LSU. Why? They dangled some money. Just dangle some money in Louisiana, buddy, and they'll buy out and sell out in a second. First in the nation, carbon capture concentration within its petroleum engineering curriculum. It ought to be laughed at. It ought to be ripped out, and governor ought to pull that out because it's a hoax, Governor. You said it. I said it. Trump said it. It's a joke. Why are we allowing this to go on campus? They're going to put a carbon capture well on campus. They have no idea. They also know Louisiana has many advantages that make carbon capture sequestration attractive, ample existing oil and gas infrastructure, favorable geology. This is a lie, folks. I don't care how smart somebody is. I want them to come tell me what it produces. It produces nothing. But they're getting that money. They're getting money, folks, and that's all they care about. They don't give a damn about the country. They're buying into the biggest lie in Louisiana because we don't have business here and things are going rough. We're going to take it. This is absolute. And now the universities. What a joke. What a joke. This is a lie, folks. I'm going to be proven right. I may be dead, but I'm going to be proven right. What a joke. What a lie. What a lie from hell. Carbon capture my boo. Carbon capture my boo. All right. Bo Keys, Whitesboro, Texas, is the pecan winner. Bo Keys, Whitesboro, Texas, is the winner of the pecans. Carbon capture. Got our schools, got our all companies. Produces nothing. It's a zero burger. All right. All right, we got to take a break. Rest of you, some of you leaving us, God bless. Have a great day. The rest of you, moon at moongraphone.com or moongraphone.com. You can listen live. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
For the absolute best in local Cajun food, check out Prejean's in their 2 locations in Carencro and Broussard today.